Time, the one thing we all have in equal measure, yet the one thing most of us seem to lose without even realizing it. Every day we wake up with 24 hours, but how we use those hours determines whether we feel fulfilled or frustrated. The truth is, time isn't something we can earn more of. We can only learn to spend it wisely. Most people think wasting time means scrolling through social media or watching too much TV. But wasting time runs deeper. It happens when we live without clarity, when we avoid difficult choices, or when we let distractions shape our priorities. Taking control of your life begins with taking control of your time. And today, I want to share 5 ways to do that. 5 shifts that can transform your relationship with time forever. 1, start with what matters most. Every minute you spend is either taking you closer to your purpose or further away from it. The first step to stop wasting time is knowing what truly matters. If you don't define your priorities, the world will define them for you. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to build? Once you're clear on that, align your daily choices with those answers. You don't need to fill your day with tasks. You need to fill it with meaning. Productivity without purpose is just movement without direction. The key isn't to do more, it's to do what matters most. To guard your focus like treasure. In the modern world, attention is under attack. Notifications, emails, and endless content compete for your mind every minute. Focus is the new currency of success. When you allow distractions to run your day, you hand over control of your life. Start protecting your focus. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Schedule specific times for checking messages. Set boundaries. Give your full attention to one thing at a time, because the power to focus deeply is what separates those who achieve lasting results from those who are constantly busy but going nowhere. When you learn to master your attention, you begin to master your life. 3, learn the art of saying no. Most people waste time because they are afraid to say no. They overcommit, overextend, and overload themselves with responsibilities that don't align with their goals. Saying no isn't selfish, it's necessary. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something meaningful. Start practicing intentional decision-making. Before you agree to anything, ask, does this bring me closer to my vision or pull me away from it? Be honest with yourself. The truth is, people will always want your time, but only you can decide how it's spent. Learn to say no with respect, but also with conviction. It's not rejection, it's redirection toward what matters most. 4, replace perfection with progress. One of the biggest time wasters isn't distraction, it's perfectionism. We delay action because we're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. But perfection doesn't exist. Progress does. The secret to taking control of your life is momentum. Small, consistent steps done daily beat big, delayed dreams every time. Don't aim to be perfect. Aim to improve. The longer you wait for everything to be just right, the more life passes you by. Start now. Adjust along the way, because movement creates clarity, not the other way around. 5, build systems that support you. Motivation is fleeting, but systems last. You don't need to rely on willpower every day. If you create habits that make productivity automatic, a system is simply a structure that helps you repeat good behavior with less effort. For example, plan your day the night before. Set time blocks for your priorities. Create routines that start your day with energy and end it with reflection. When your systems are strong, you don't have to fight yourself to stay consistent. Your environment does half the work for you. The goal isn't to control every minute of your life, but to build rhythms that make your time intentional. Over time, your systems will become your freedom. We all get the same 24 hours. The difference lies in how we use them. The people who seem most in control of their lives aren't luckier or smarter. They're simply more intentional with their time. They live with purpose, focus on what matters, say no to what doesn't, embrace progress, and build systems that make success inevitable. If you want to take control of your life, start with your time. Because time is not something you manage, it's something you honor. And when you learn to honor your time, you begin to honor your potential. 5 keynotes of the speech clarify your priorities. Focus on what truly matters instead of trying to do everything. Protect your attention, minimize distractions, and give your full focus to one task at a time. Learn to say no. Guard your time by committing only to what aligns with your purpose. Choose progress over perfection. Take consistent action instead of waiting for ideal conditions. Create supportive systems. Build routines and structures that make wise time use effortless. When we talk about taking control of our time, everything begins with clarity. Clarity about what truly matters most. You cannot manage time effectively if you do not know what you are managing it for. Too many people live their lives reacting instead of leading. They wake up each morning and dive straight into the noise of the world. Emails, notifications, demands, and routines, and somewhere along the way, they forget why they started. The first way to stop wasting time is not to fill every moment with activity, but to ensure every activity serves a purpose. Clarity is like a compass. Without it, you may be moving fast, but you are likely going in circles. Imagine someone driving a car at full speed without knowing the destination. They may feel busy, but they are not getting anywhere meaningful. That is what happens when we fill our days with random business. We mistake motion for progress, but true progress only happens when your actions align with your values and vision. To take control of your life, you must decide what your priorities are. And to decide that, you must know yourself deeply, what you stand for, what you want to contribute, and what kind of life you want to build. It begins by asking powerful questions. What kind of person do I want to become? What do I want to be remembered for? What activities give my life meaning? When you get clear on your answers, everything else becomes simpler. You stop chasing distractions that look urgent but aren't important. You start saying yes to things that truly reflect your purpose. Without clarity, you say yes to everything because you have no standard for what deserves your time. But with clarity, every yes becomes intentional and every no becomes empowering. Clarity also transforms how you view success. Many people measure success by how much they do, but doing more doesn't always mean achieving more. It is possible to be incredibly busy and still be deeply unfulfilled. You might complete dozens of tasks in a day, but if those tasks don't serve your purpose, you'll end every night exhausted yet empty. When you start your day by identifying what matters most, you shift from being busy to being effective. You stop chasing every opportunity and instead focus on the few that truly matter. The people who seem calm, centered, and in control of their lives aren't necessarily less busy. They are simply more intentional. They have decided that their time is sacred and that not everything deserves a piece of it. They wake up with a clear sense of direction, not because they have fewer responsibilities, but because they know which ones truly count. When your priorities are clear, your decisions become easier. You no longer need to debate every choice. You simply ask, does this align with what matters most to me? That one question can save you years of wasted effort. Clarity also brings emotional peace. So much of our stress comes from feeling pulled in multiple directions. We say yes to things we don't care about. We commit to goals we never chose consciously, and we live on autopilot. But when you are clear about what matters, your days feel lighter. You stop fighting with yourself. You stop feeling guilty for not doing everything because you finally understand you don't have to. You are no longer trying to be everywhere. You are simply trying to be where it counts. To find this clarity, you need moments of reflection. Step away from the constant noise of daily life and spend time thinking about what fulfills you. It might be your family, your craft, your health, or your contribution to others. Write it down. Define it clearly, because once you know what truly matters, you can measure your choices against it. Every hour, every task, every plan can be filtered through that lens. When you learn to prioritize this way, your energy stops scattering and starts focusing. Clarity also requires courage. It means admitting that some of the things you spend your time on right now don't really matter. It means letting go of old habits, obligations, or relationships that no longer serve your higher purpose. This can be uncomfortable because we often attach our worth to our business. But true confidence doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from knowing what's worth doing and committing to it fully. Once you've defined what matters most, protect it fiercely. Build your days around it. Schedule like it's non-negotiable. Treat it as the center of your time management, not something you squeeze in when convenient. For instance, if your health matters most, prioritize movement and rest. If relationships matter most, make time for deep, undistracted connection. If growth matters most, carve out hours for learning and reflection. When your priorities shape your calendar starts shaping your future. The truth is, life will always be full of distractions, demands, and endless options. But not everything deserves your attention. When you gain clarity on what truly matters, time stops slipping through your fingers. You begin to live deliberately instead of reactively. You make choices based on meaning instead of momentum. And little by little, you turn every hour into an investment toward the life you actually want to live. Focus is the foundation of every meaningful achievement, yet it has become one of the rarest skills in the modern world. We live in an age where distraction is constant and attention has become the most valuable currency we own. Every second of your day, something is fighting to steal it. Your phone buzzing, emails arriving, messages popping up, and the endless stream of digital noise that surrounds you. We often think we are multitasking, but in truth, we are merely switching from one distraction to another, never giving anything our full attention. To take control of your life, you must learn to guard your focus as if it were treasure, because it is. Without focus, time slips away in fragments. You may work all day and still feel as though nothing meaningful was done, not because you lack time, but because your attention was scattered. The mind works best when it can concentrate on one task at a time. Deep work, focused, undistracted effort is where true creativity and productivity live. But most people rarely experience it anymore. The habit of constant checking, scrolling, and switching has rewired our brains to crave stimulation instead of satisfaction. The result is a cycle of business without progress. You might feel active, but the truth is you're stuck in shallow engagement. Protecting your focus means breaking that cycle. It means being intentional about what deserves your attention and what doesn't. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with full presence. The ability to focus deeply isn't just a skill, it's a discipline. It requires deliberate choices every single day. The first step is awareness. You need to recognize how often your focus drifts and what triggers that distraction. Maybe it's the phone lighting up beside you. Maybe it's the habit of checking emails the moment they arrive. Maybe it's the feeling of boredom that drives you to open another app for quick entertainment. Once you become aware of where your focus leaks, you can start patching those holes. You can create boundaries around your attention so that it is spent consciously rather than carelessly. Guarding your focus is also about designing your environment to support concentration. The human brain adapts to what surrounds it. If your workspace is filled with constant interruptions, your mind will learn to expect them. But when you create a quiet, distraction-free zone, your mind settles into deeper levels of thinking. It's not just about turning off notifications. It's about creating space for uninterrupted flow. Keep your phone away while working, close unnecessary tabs, and allow yourself to be fully present in the moment. When you give one thing your full attention, your energy sharpens, your creativity expands, and your output multiplies. People often believe they need more time, but what they really need is more focus. 1 hour of focused work can accomplish more than 5 hours of distracted effort. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your results. When your focus is strong, your decisions become sharper, your communication becomes clearer, and your work becomes more meaningful. The ability to direct your attention deliberately is what separates those who achieve lasting impact from those who merely stay busy. Another way to protect your focus is to set clear priorities before the day begins. When you know exactly what deserves your energy, distractions lose their power. Without clear intention, everything feels urgent, and you end up reacting to whatever appears first. But when you start your day by identifying the 1 or 2 most important tasks, you reclaim control. Focus thrives in clarity. You are no longer chasing every demand. You are leading your time with purpose. Focus also requires the courage to disconnect. The modern world glorifies being available all the time, but constant availability destroys depth. You don't need to reply instantly to every message or be present on every platform. You need to be present in your life. The moments of silence, the stretches of solitude, and the time spent away from screens are not wasted. They are where reflection, insight, and creativity grow. When you give your mind time to rest, it rewards you with sharper thinking and stronger focus. Guarding your focus also means managing your energy. You can't focus deeply when your body is tired or your mind is cluttered. Sleep, nutrition, and movement play as big a role in attention as discipline does. When you take care of your physical and mental energy, your focus becomes sustainable. No one can stay deeply engaged for hours without rest, and that's why balance is essential. Take breaks intentionally. Step away to recharge so that when you return, your mind is ready to give full attention again. Focus is also an act of respect. Respect for your goals, your time, and yourself. When you give your full attention to something, you are telling yourself that it matters. You are telling your life that you choose to live deliberately, not reactively. Every time you resist distraction, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. Every time you commit to being fully present, you reclaim a piece of your time that would otherwise be lost. In a world full of noise, the ability to focus is a superpower. It allows you to think clearly when others are overwhelmed, to create value while others are distracted, and to make progress when others are stuck. The more you protect your focus, the more power you have over your life. It's not the number of hours you work that shapes your future. It's the number of hours you own. When you give your attention only to what matters most, you begin to master not just your time, but your entire direction in life. Learning to say no is one of the hardest yet most powerful habits you can develop if you truly want to take control of your life. Most people waste years, not because they don't have enough opportunities, but because they keep saying yes to the wrong ones. Every yes carries a cost. When you agree to do something that doesn't align with your goals or values, you are silently saying no to something that does. The truth is, your time, energy, and attention are limited resources. If you give them away carelessly, you lose control of your life one commitment at a time. Saying no is not about rejecting people. It's about respecting your priorities. Many of us struggle to say no because we fear disappointment. We want to be liked, to be seen as helpful, kind, or capable. We say yes because it feels easier in the moment, but every unnecessary yes becomes a quiet burden. It fills your schedule with obligations that drain your energy and cloud your focus. Over time, you begin to feel overwhelmed, resentful, and unfocused. You tell yourself there's never enough time, but the truth is, you're spending your time on things that don't matter. Taking control of your life begins the moment you realize that your yes has value and not everything deserves it. Saying no takes courage. It means acknowledging that you can't do everything and that not every opportunity is meant for you. There's power in understanding that business does not equal productivity. You might fill every hour of your day, but if none of it brings you closer to your purpose, you are simply running in place. Learning to say no allows you to create space for what truly matters, your growth, your peace, your relationships, and your goals. Without that space, even the most meaningful things in life begin to feel like a burden. Every time you say yes, ask yourself a simple question: does this move me closer to the life I want to live? If the answer is no, then you owe it to yourself to decline. It doesn't have to be rude or dismissive. Saying no can be done with kindness and clarity. It's about being honest with yourself and others. When you overcommit, you don't just let yourself down, you often let others down too, because you can't give your best when you're spread too thin. By saying no, you are not rejecting people. You are ensuring that when you do say yes, you can give it your full energy and attention. There's a difference between being helpful and being available for everything. Helpful people create value by choosing wisely where they invest their time. People who try to please everyone end up pleasing no one, not even themselves. The most respected and productive individuals in the world are those who protect their time fiercely. They know that every invitation, every task, every request comes at a cost. They understand that saying yes to one thing means saying no to something else, often something more important. This awareness allows them to act with precision instead of pressure. When you learn to say no, you also begin to rebuild your boundaries. Boundaries are not barriers, they are filters. They don't keep people out, they keep your priorities safe. Without boundaries, your time becomes an open field where anyone can walk in and plant their own agenda. With boundaries, your time becomes intentional ground, nourished only by what supports your purpose. Boundaries are how you show respect for your own goals. They remind you that you are not obligated to participate in everything that demands your attention. Saying no also strengthens your confidence. At first, it might feel uncomfortable because you've been conditioned to believe that saying yes equals kindness. But real kindness is rooted in honesty. When you agree to something you don't truly want to do, you create resentment and stress. When you decline with sincerity, you create space for authenticity. Over time, you start to trust yourself more. You begin to feel a sense of control over your choices. That confidence spills into every area of your life. You no longer chase approval because you've learned to approve of your own decisions. It's important to understand that every meaningful yes depends on 100 deliberate no's. You can't pursue your biggest dreams if you're constantly distracted by smaller requests. You can't nurture deep relationships if you're too busy attending to everyone else's expectations. You can't grow if you're constantly overwhelmed. The discipline of saying no isn't about rejecting opportunities, it's about choosing the right ones. The most successful people don't do everything. They focus on what matters most and let go of the rest. The act of saying no is also a signal to yourself that your time is worth. When you say no, you're declaring that your goals are important enough to protect. You're reminding yourself that you have the right to direct your own energy. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. You begin to see that people respect clear boundaries. They may not always like it, but they learn to understand it. Saying no doesn't make you selfish, it makes you strategic. In the end, every decision you make is a trade. You are always trading time for something, whether it's progress, peace, or distraction. The question is, are you trading it wisely? Every time you say no to what doesn't align with your purpose, you make room for what does. And it's in that space where your choices are intentional and your energy is focused that you finally start to take control of your life. Perfection is one of the most subtle and dangerous forms of procrastination. It disguises itself as high standards, but in truth, it is often fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. We tell ourselves we're waiting for the right time, the perfect plan, or the ideal conditions, but perfection never comes. Life does not offer flawless moments, it offers opportunities, and most of them are hidden inside imperfection. The people who move forward are not the ones who wait for everything to be right. They are the ones who start anyway. They understand that progress is far more powerful than perfection. Perfection gives us the illusion of control. It makes us feel like if we plan enough, prepare enough, and polish enough, we can avoid mistakes. But the truth is, mistakes are not something to be avoided. They are essential for growth. Every skill, every achievement, every breakthrough is built on a foundation of failed attempts. When you choose progress over perfection, you allow yourself to learn, to adapt, and to evolve. You stop wasting time chasing flawless outcomes and start using that time to create real results. Many people waste years stuck in the planning stage. They overthink, overanalyze, and overprepare. They rewrite their ideas 100 times, but never take the first step. They are waiting for certainty in a world that runs on uncertainty. The irony is that clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. You only learn what works by trying, and you only find your direction by moving. The first step may not be perfect, but it is always necessary. Progress requires momentum, and momentum begins with action, not perfection. When you replace perfection with progress, you give yourself permission to start small. You begin to appreciate the value of steady, consistent effort. A small daily improvement compounds into something extraordinary over time. Think about how habits form. A single action, repeated consistently, creates transformation. You don't need to take massive leaps. You just need to move forward one step at a time. It's not the size of the action that matters, it's the direction. Perfectionists want to leap, progress seekers are willing to climb. And while leaping might look faster, climbing takes you further because it's sustainable. Perfection also drains creativity. When you obsess over getting everything right, you shut down the natural flow of ideas. You start judging your work before it's even finished, and that kills innovation. Creativity thrives in experimentation. It grows in freedom, not in fear. The more you focus on being perfect, the less you take creative risks. And without risk, there is no discovery. The most remarkable inventions, artworks, and breakthroughs came from people who dared to make imperfect attempts. They didn't wait until they were ready. They started and refined along the way. The mindset of perfection often stems from comparison. We look at others who are ahead and think we need to match their standards before we can begin. But what we forget is that their chapter 10 cannot be compared to our chapter 1. Everyone starts somewhere. The people we admire are not perfect. They just started earlier and failed more times than we have. They learn by doing. The sooner you start, the sooner you learn, and the sooner you grow. Waiting for perfection only keeps you stuck while others move forward. Progress demands humility. It requires you to accept that you won't get everything right the first time. That's not failure, that's feedback. Every mistake teaches you something new about yourself and your craft. When you stop fearing imperfection, you begin to see challenges as opportunities for improvement. You begin to understand that mastery is not a destination, It's a continuous process. Every expert you see today was once a beginner who made mistakes, learned from them, and kept going. The difference between success and stagnation isn't intelligence or luck, it's the willingness to take imperfect action. Replacing perfection with progress also changes your relationship with time. Perfectionists delay action because they want every condition to be ideal, but progress seekers use what they have where they are right now. They understand that the present moment is the only real opportunity they have. Waiting for the right time is just another way of avoiding discomfort. But the truth is, growth is always uncomfortable. The discomfort you feel when taking imperfect action is a sign that you're moving forward. Comfort keeps you still. Discomfort means progress. When you let go of perfection, you begin to enjoy the process more. Instead of chasing flawless outcomes, you start celebrating small wins. You start finding joy in learning and satisfaction in growth. That shift in mindset brings freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from pressure, and freedom from constant self-judgment. You realize that your value isn't tied to your performance. You don't have to prove anything by being perfect. You just have to show up and give your best with what you have. Progress is not about speed, it's about consistency. You don't have to do everything today. You just have to take the next step. Over time, those small, imperfect steps add up to extraordinary results. When you choose progress over perfection, you stop wasting time waiting for the right moment and start using your time to build the life you want. Because success is not about getting it perfect, it's about getting it done, learning, and improving as you go. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather, unpredictable and unreliable. You may wake up one morning full of energy and ambition, ready to take on the world, but by the next day, that spark has faded. That is why relying solely on motivation is a trap. The real secret to consistent progress lies in building systems, structures that make the right actions easier and the wrong ones harder. A system is not about control, it is about support. It's about designing your environment, habits, and routines in a way that helps you stay aligned with your goals even when motivation disappears. When you look at people who seem disciplined or productive, it's easy to think they have more willpower than everyone else. But in most cases, they simply have stronger systems. They've built daily routines that guide their behavior automatically. They don't waste time deciding whether to act. Their system does that for them. For example, if someone has a system of going to the gym right after work every day, they don't debate whether they feel like it. They just go because it's part of the rhythm they've built. Systems create momentum, and momentum sustains consistency. Building systems begins with understanding your natural patterns. Everyone has different times in the day when they feel most alert, creative, or focused. A strong system aligns important work with those peak hours. Instead of forcing yourself to work when your energy is low, structure your day so your best hours are reserved for your most meaningful tasks. That is how you get more done with less stress. Systems turn chaos into clarity. They remove the need to constantly make decisions about what to do next. Every time you make a decision, you spend mental energy, and that energy is limited. Systems preserve it. The beauty of a system is that it makes good behavior automatic. You don't need to wake up and convince yourself to do the right thing every morning. If your system is strong, your habits take over. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't think twice about it because it's automatic. Imagine applying that same automatic consistency to your goals. That is the power of systems. You train your brain to follow patterns that serve you instead of patterns that sabotage you. Another reason systems are powerful is that they help you recover quickly from setbacks. Motivation relies on feelings, and when things go wrong, those feelings crash. But systems rely on structure, and structure remains steady. If you miss a day, your system helps you return without guilt or overthinking. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Systems give you a foundation to stand on when willpower runs out. They act as guardrails that keep you moving forward, even when the road gets rough. Creating systems also means designing your environment to support your goals. Your surroundings shape your behavior more than you realize. If you want to focus more, make your workspace clean and distraction-free. If you want to eat healthier, keep nutritious food visible and remove junk food from reach. If you want to read more, place a book where you'll see it first thing in the morning. Systems are not just routines, they are physical, mental, and emotional environments that make success more likely. When your environment supports your goals, success stops being a struggle and starts becoming a natural outcome. Consistency is not about working harder, it's about designing smarter. You can't depend on motivation forever, but you can depend on well-built systems. They free your mind from constant decision fatigue and keep you aligned with your priorities. Think of your system as a set of habits that serve your purpose without draining your energy. You can build systems for anything, your work, your relationships, your health, your personal growth. The key is to identify the actions that matter most and create a structure that makes them easier to repeat. Systems also build identity. When you repeat an action often enough, it becomes part of who you are. If you read a little every day, you start to see yourself as a reader. If you exercise consistently, you begin to view yourself as someone who values health. Identity fuels discipline because once you see yourself a certain way, you naturally act in alignment with that belief. Systems make this transformation possible by reinforcing behaviors until they become effortless. People often think success comes from big decisions, but it actually comes from small systems executed daily. Waking up at a set time, planning your day in advance, reflecting each night, eating well, taking breaks. These are small choices, but when repeated, they create massive results. Systems compound over time. The more consistent you are, the more momentum you build. And once momentum takes over, you don't need to rely on constant motivation to keep going. Your habits carry you forward. Ultimately, building systems is about freeing yourself from chaos. It's about turning good intentions into predictable outcomes. When you build systems that align with your values, life stops feeling like a constant uphill battle. You no longer waste energy fighting yourself or forcing discipline. You simply follow the flow you've designed. Systems bring order, stability, and consistency. They are the invisible architecture behind every lasting success. Once your systems are in place, progress stops being a struggle and starts becoming a way of life. Time is the one resource we can never get back. Every second that passes is gone forever, which is why how we spend it determines the quality of our entire life. Taking control of your time is not about packing more into your day. It's about aligning every moment with purpose. When you begin to focus on what truly matters, guard your attention fiercely, learn to say no, choose progress over perfection, and build systems that support your goals, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. Each of these 5 principles connects to one simple truth: you are responsible for how your time is used. No one else will protect it for you. The world will always demand more of you. More effort, more presence, more availability. But you must decide what truly deserves your energy. The people who live with fulfillment are not those who have the most time. They are the ones who make the most of the time they have. Taking control of your life begins the moment you stop drifting and start deciding. It's when you stop letting distractions, fears, and habits dictate your days and instead design your life with clarity, focus, and purpose. Time will always move forward, but you have the power to decide whether it moves you closer to your dreams or further away from them. So stop waiting for the perfect day, the perfect moment, or the perfect plan. Begin now, start where you are with what you have, and take one deliberate step toward the life you want. Because the real measure of success is not how much time you've been given, but how intentionally you've chosen to live it.